bienvenidos una vez más, one more time, to the Nebraska Somos One podcast. My name is Itzel. I'm your host today. This is our podcast where we acknowledge the contributions of the people that have been here in the past. We celebrate our success of today, so in our present, and then we're building our futuro together. Today with me is not only a dear friend, mentor, even though she may not think that she is, and a valuable human, not just for Omaha, Nebraska, but for the world, indeed. And so with me is Maria Brady. And before we begin our conversation, Maria, welcome, bienvenida. I would love for the audience to get to know you first, just a little bit about you. Why, Maria, why are you here? Why Omaha? Glad to see you here.
So good to see you, Itzel. Thank you for having me. And I have to say, I don't know that there's a kinder introduction. So thank you for your words. They always stick with me and encourage me too. Why Omaha is a really good question. I was born and raised here. And the terminology that we all love to use is I keep being a boomerang. Left for university, came back for work, attempted to leave again, and the pandemic kept me here. But the pandemic keeping me here awakened me to not only where our community is going, but the challenges that we have that are here right at our front door. And I've been very fortunate, even early on in my career, to be able to work in those spaces and to get to know really incredible people all around the metro who are also working to make every person's life better, more vibrant, and equitable. So with that, Omaha has become a very sticky place for me. So even though I currently don't live here, I am based in Sydney, Australia, I'm very grateful to still be connected not only to the people here that I love, but to be connected to the city in a way where I feel like I am also being part of the change and part of the momentum to move us all forward together.
And you are making a change and a difference, and you have since, I'm sure when you were young, you were pretty engaged also. I cannot imagine a Maria that was just quietly observing.
Little Maria was so shy.
Yes. I don't believe
Little
this.
Maria could not even speak in front of a group of 5 people. I was incredibly shy, really, until university, my freshman year of college. There was no extrovertedness. There was none of my communication skills existed a decade ago. So that's all very new.
I'm really surprised because everywhere we go around, you obviously know a variety of people now. Your social capital has grown, right? This is your city. You mentioned even though you were born and had come and return, like you have built a tremendous community of friends and people that are building Omaha. And I just cannot imagine you not being this person, and so I'm quite surprised. But I'm happy to see you in this evolution then.
Yes. Well, and you and I met now 6 years ago, 5 years ago.
Goodness gracious.
I know, we're getting old.
No, we're getting prettier.
We are. But with this too, the relationships I've been able to build and the skills I've been able to develop, they've always gone hand in hand. And so my ability to connect and engage and facilitate, that has all come through time and experience. But what Omaha so often does is it rewards you, and that comes from every small conversation and every interaction. So I ensure that I treat all of them with the same level of importance and care. And that continues to build. It also makes things feel so much more connected. You get to know your barista. You get to know the person living next door to you. You get to know your partners that you work with throughout the city. And so having that interconnected web, having all of those conversations helps quite a bit.
Absolutely. And this is a great segue. You mentioned, we met about 5, maybe 6 years ago. And just like Maria mentioned, although she doesn't live here presently and she's visiting right now, our friendship will continue to last regardless of where our journeys take us. Maybe not here in Omaha in the future. Who knows again? But I was really happy to come across Maria when she was departing, and we're really excited to have brought her along at the Latino Economic Development Council. and really, really content with having you as part of our team, our growing team, our expanding team. And for folks that don't know much about LEDC, I'm one of 3 founders at the Latino Economic Development Council. And really, when this got started, never imagined it would be its own nonprofit. And now to see the team expand and have so much relevance, but also within that relevance, like a spider web effect of resources that have evolved from having an organization that not only accepts and celebrates the Latino community in Omaha and then beyond, but also educates, informs, and advocates for the growing Latino community. So in your role now, Maria, as the Senior Director of Development at LEDC, what do you think funding is so critical right now for Latino economic empowerment and community development, not just in Omaha, but across Nebraska?
Oh, it's such an important question. And it's here and it's everywhere else in our nation too. I'll break that down and answer it in three areas. And with that, to begin where we're at currently in this political environment, it is so vitally important that resources are channeled to support the Latino community, not only here in the Omaha Metro, but in every neighborhood, in every state, and every place, because Latinos are here. They are part of our community. They deserve respect, dignity, and care. And what we are seeing is communities rising up in support. But to do that in any facet, it requires different avenues of support. It boils down to funding. There's been a lot of progress made, too. I think as we're seeing things continue to change, especially this year in 2025, we are seeing innovative ways, new communication channels, new partnerships forming. But all of that is to say is in the first part of how I want to answer this, there is no greater time, no more important time than to not only support the Latino community, but other minority communities here throughout the states that are being impacted. So that's to begin on the starker note. But to move a little lighter, not lighter, that's not the appropriate term, but supporting the Latino community economically, both here and beyond. There has been chronic disinvestment in a lot of immigrant communities and neighborhoods. Our Omaha Metro is a really great example of that, unfortunately, with our history of redlining. What that does is it compounds upon each other. These decisions were made decades ago, but they're permanent in a way that they metastasize within a community. We can see it through a highway. We can see it through a lack of grocery stores and a lack of business investments in certain key areas of our city. There's a lot of work happening. There's still this momentum coming. We're seeing it in North and in South Omaha, and it's so encouraging. But we have to continue to invest in those areas, and that is not only in infrastructure, that's in education and healthcare. That's also in community vitality. Think about parks and green spaces and tree coverage, especially as we're having hotter summers and colder winters. So in this second area, investment is not only needed now because it's needed critically, it's still needed to, I can't use the word undo, but to move beyond and to build upon what has already been done. We can see that so evidently in South Omaha. I know we'll speak about that a bit later. But my third answer, or third area that I want to have in focus of this is why we must be investing now, is because the future generation is here with us now, too. There are so many incredible Latino youth, especially in our community. They are doing incredible things in their education pathways. There's great resources available at our public and private schools, but further investment needs to happen not only in mentorship, in scholarship opportunities, in all these ways. And so as I look at what Latino economic investment is, it is still going back to the person. And I think it's very critically important that we are focusing on the next generation of Latino leaders. And I could keep going, but I'll stop there.
And I love the passion on how you described and acknowledge the contributions of the growing Latino community. And to your point, this isn't about just Latinos, although Latinos are the largest ethnic group across the U.S., and that's also true here in Nebraska. Over 12% of Nebraska residents identify as Latinos, but in Southeast Omaha, which is the Southeast Puma, 68107 specifically, over 55% of the residents now are Latinos. And so investing in the Latino community is not just wise, but it has a rippling effect that will support all neighborhoods in our city. Walk us through the core program areas that LEDC currently has and supports around workforce development, leadership, and place-based development. And I ask you this because obviously in your role as Senior Director of Development, you get to write the story about the way that LEDC is moving along a city like Omaha, but certainly will not, its effects and its impact will not stay here.
Of course. I get to write the story, but I get to see where we're going. And that is such a true privilege. I could talk probably for the next 40 minutes just about these three key areas, but I'll distill them down into really three core programs and initiatives that we're working on. In workforce development, we have a really wonderful opportunity that has developed from 2025 into now will be launching in 2026, which is fully absorbing and adopting the United Hispanic Contractors Association, or UCA, which is a really wonderful program that's already been in existence here in the Omaha community, founded by one of LEDC's co-founders, Armando. And as I look to the work that LEDC is doing, again, going back to we are here for the individual, the program of UCA really is empowering contractors, small business owners, in a way that it facilitates language accessibility, networking opportunities. And as we look to, there is so much development here in Omaha, and that's a really exciting phase to be in, but it also needs to be equitable. And we need to be supporting smaller contractor companies where Spanish may be their primary language too in communication. There are so many ways to facilitate equitable growth, and I really do see construction as a core area, especially as Omaha is going through this renaissance of investment. So UCA, the partnerships that come with it, and also the growth potential there of, we've been hosting these networking events. We recently hosted one at Kiewit. You're seeing a room of 50 to 60 people highly engaged, motivated to be there to learn and to connect. And I can only imagine what that's going to look like a few months from now. So that's an area of workforce development I'm so thrilled and excited to see. Additionally, as we're looking into leadership development, which UCA definitely has a piece of that, but that is more so we're looking at our adult population. Another program that we built out in 2025, and we have officially launching just this Saturday, is the Adelante Youth Activators Program. This program is near and dear to my heart for a lot of reasons, but Itzel gracefully said that she sees me as a mentor, and yet she has always been that for me. I think it is such a privilege in life to have people to learn from and to grow from. And when you are early on in your career or your education, it makes all the difference to have someone there to guide you and to assist you and to also help open doors. And so the Adelante Youth Activators Program is built to be exactly that, but it's targeting Latino youth in high school and also first-generation college students from across the metro. Our first cohort has students from so many different schools all across Omaha, not just South Omaha. And it's so exciting to see there is not only this hunger for this connection, but also we are able to fill this gap and connect incredible companies with these students, committee members, our board members, our staff. It really is this perfect ecosystem then to have this initial cohort, which will be 2 years, to learn, to grow, and to also help us as we are detailing out and determining what the first year of programming will be for Plaza de la Raza, which gets me into my third area. And this is where, I would love to talk for so long, and I know you talk about it all the time, but to live and breathe the Adelante initiative truly is so special. As we look back in 20 years of what this means, not only for South Omaha, but the city as a whole, the Adelante initiative is truly transformative. It is once-in-a-generation investment. It is co-created by the community, and the design is so intentional, as is the implementation. Now, the Adelante initiative is, of course, 4 phases. The first phase and our flagship project is the transformation of a city-owned parking lot on South 24th Street and transforming it into a vibrant public park that is going to be so multi-purpose in its use for community members to learn, to grow, to connect, and to celebrate. And to have that space and to have it done so beautifully with such care is truly going to be incredible. So with that, we are breaking ground in March of 2026, which is so
Exciting.
soon. But as I noted too, that's only phase 1. To do true transformational change in any community requires sustained impact, sustained partnerships. It requires leadership, which is what LEDC and our partners are providing. But it is implementing the vision. And the vision is not just for this park. It is for streetscape improvements. It is for a parking garage. Eventually, it is to build out the Latino Economic Development Center. It is to add vibrancy, permanence, and reinvestment into already a beautiful and vibrant part of Omaha, but to do so in a way that is helping us all move forward together and in a very beautiful way. So those are those 3 core areas, but by no means is that all that LEDC is working at within those areas. The breadth of our programming and especially our partnerships, I think, really speaks to the need that LEDC is filling in our community. We're seeing that in advocacy roles through We Make Omaha at the local level. We are also seeing it in some of our partnerships at a national level too, like the Thrive initiative. So there's a lot more work, but for today, we'll stop there and we'll pick it up another time.
I love that. And we're building this community together. And I love how we started by sharing about UCA, and people are still surprised to hear, Maria, like the construction sector itself, it's over 55% Latino. Like the workforce of the construction sector is 55% Latino. And to think that we get, over $100 million of dollars that are going to be invested in Southeast Omaha, and to have our own subcontracting companies owned by Latino business owners not be part of this, phase, like, yeah, I'm so excited to have a program like that, to build capacity, to inform them about the process, and to get them prepared for what's coming, not just with Plaza de la Raza, but everything that's going to happen across the Southeast Omaha area due to that NSORG grant funding that came from the state a couple of years ago. So very, very exciting times. Now, we noted that one of our big bets is on the Latino leadership development, and of course programs like UCA and also the Adelante Youth Activators, which pilots this weekend, to your point. I would like to hear from your perspective, Maria, how will funding programming like this, specifically for youth, today will pay dividends in the economic future of the Latino community in Omaha? But again, it's going to have a rippling effect. So I would love to hear what you have to say about how you see this program is having a change, and a change that is going to be so quantifying, and at the same time, like, it's hard to see today, but this investment will have its returns.
Oh goodness, it's such a good question. I'll start hyper-local and I'll move more broad. And in some ways it ties into a lot of what we've already spoken about. Me a decade ago is not speaking to you right now, right? And it's also this notion of what I spoke about in your very first question about why is it so important to invest in the Latino economic development anywhere. And it really is that our future is here now. They are us. We are part of it. We are moving things ahead, and we will continue to do so for many, many years. However, the next season of change makers, the next generation, are already here too. And as we look to the Latino community, especially in the times that we are at right now, it is their voice and their future that's going to carry us forward and help us move to a more prosperous, equitable place. And unfortunately, we have to fight for that a bit, but fighting comes through education, it comes through advocacy, and it comes through collective strength. And as we look to the Latino community, that is the foundation. The foundation is the next generation. And so there is no more important time than to invest time, money, resources, care, holistic care too, because it's not just going to university. It is your well-being mentally, physically, and emotionally as you transition from high school into college or into other trainings or directly into the workforce. Whatever that journey is, being supported by the community, for the community, will bring the next generation of Latino leaders to not only make impact here, to continue this initiative, right, to live, work, and play in South Omaha and beyond, but to influence things regionally and nationally, and dare I say internationally too. There is such strong collective Latino power in the States and outside of the States. But all of this is to say, investing in Latino youth now, we have resources, there's so much interconnectivity, there's so much access to training, and yet it has to be very much tailored and dedicated, right? Every individual is different, their needs, their aspirations, their background too. So it's a really exciting time for it, but in a way too, as I've said earlier, there's really no more critical time than right now too, because there's so much fear, there's erasure, and there are things that should not be being said about our own community members and the people we care and we love about. And to hear that thing when you are 16, that can change so much about how you perceive your hope and your future. And so we need to not only encourage, but to empower. And I see that through the Adelante Youth Activators Program. I see that through mentorship that you give to others in your life. And that is what we need to keep investing into.
Yeah, and not only that, but again, the numbers, speak for themselves. Every 30 seconds around the U.S., there's a Latino youth turning 18. That's every 30 seconds.
That's incredible.
We also know that, 1 of 4 children across the U.S. are also Latino born. The bilingualism and the bicultural is like double your market in every sector. There's a lot of benefits of supporting the growing Latino community, investing in our youth. I love to talk about how my daughter is 21, and just like I feel like you're a mentor, I also feel like I learn a lot from Karime, just listening to, the way that she expressed herself based on all of the information that's available to her at this age, right? And to be able to make decisions based on facts, and being able to have access to technology that we didn't have when we were growing up. Maybe you did, but I didn't. And so it was just like one of those things that our youth are literally our present, and they are our present leaders, not our future leaders. They are here, they're bold, they're wise, they have access to information, they're resourceful. And so I think that, to your point, I mean, there is no better time than today to invest in our youth, because I mean the obvious rippling effect is just it's hidden, but it's coming. And so I'm really excited about that. Now with that, could you speak directly to potential donors? Because of course, you're the director of development, and so if you will say the biggest opportunity you want them to see in LEDC. I mean, we just spoke about some of our current programs, but I share some of the data around the growing Latina community, and of course, as a Latina, I'm really proud to be Latina, and at the same time, it's a really scary time to be a Latina, right? So although I'm conflicted, and it's like, no, we gotta stay here, and we are going to move forward, and we're gonna keep going. But at the same time, like, why will funders care?
One, just thank you for how you presented that, and also just the authenticity, and you know how it is, and you know what your words can do in terms of their power and potency. But funding, if we break it down, it's dollars, 2 things. But it's never just that. Where funders, especially now, are choosing to invest their dollars is going to shape and determine not only what the outcome of this next year is going to be, but the next few years. And so investment, philanthropy in the States has always been so critically important as we look to so many areas of care. But why funders should be funding us right now, which I think about often. I'll actually take a step back, and I'll show it more so in our history. LEDC was co-founded back in 2022, and it was in response not only to the chronic crisis and disinvestment in South Omaha from redlining, to other issues relating to the Latino population in the state of Nebraska. But all of that was made worse and more stark and more apparent during the pandemic. And what that did to disproportionately affect the Latino community, the multi-generational households, everyone felt that hurt and that pain, and yet the resources allocated to support the Latino community were not there right away. And so we look to that origin in 2022, this collective action, and then we look to where we are ending 2025. LEDC's influence is not only here locally, it is on a national stage. There is a need for LEDC. We are collaborative in all of the work that we do. That is from each of the programs that I just mentioned. The Adelante initiative is a great example of that. But if you look at our committee structures, if you look at the rooms that we are in here in Omaha to shape the city, LEDC's need is here. Our programming, our impact, our numbers are growing exponentially. Just even in this last year, we've seen a huge increase in numbers of the attendees and participants in our programs. We've also expanded our programming, but we are still getting phone calls to do more and to be in more places and to help shape more impact. We can't do that. We can't fill the gap that LEDC was created to fill unless we have the funding to bolster our capacity and to ensure that we can still deliver quality, authentic, community-driven change, but to also do so in a way that has to be innovative and responsive. That's the name of the game right now, and we can't do that without the funding to be nimble and to grow where we need to grow.
Absolutely. And the other thing, in addition to what you just shared, I think to your point about how investment can shape the future, right? Like what will next year will look like. Investment also shows us authentic leadership and I think intentionality. And I'm not just going to speak about LEDC in this regard. I think it goes to all immigrant serving institutions around the U.S. who are, supporting, protecting, humanizing, right? Not just Latinos, but immigrants and immigrants' contributions across sectors. How important it is to see brands like Airbnb. Most recently, I was just at a gala supporting again the Latino community in New York, and brands from Walt Disney to Airbnb to Amazon to American Airlines. I mean, just to name a few, to see them stand by the growing Latino community and saying, yes, I am here and I'm supporting, and I'm not just going to give you money, I'm also going to find ways and resources to help alleviate some of the continuous stress that our community is facing. And I think most importantly, not just the brand association in supporting Latina initiatives or immigrant serving institutions, but also I think it goes to the individuals, right? You don't have to have a brand to still support, right? Yes. And there are many ways to support. And I think that's where my next question into you, for you, Maria, not into you. That's how very well.
Ready.
I'm so sorry.
I'm ready.
What does Funding Our Futuro will look like if we succeed in our next fundraising campaign? How do you think Omaha, especially the Latina community, but the immigrant community across Nebraska, be different if donors invested in organizations like us?
You have such good questions, and it just makes me want to give you very long answers. But I'm gonna go very direct with this. Investing in the Latino and immigrant community, so that is LEDC. We have other wonderful nonprofits throughout Omaha too. Sierra is another great example. Casa de la Cultura. I'm still focusing on South Omaha. There's many more beyond. But with this, we are a multicultural city. We are a diverse city. We are a city that should be welcoming for all. And that is where we see a lot of our leadership trying to drive us to, leadership in nonprofits, in our schools, and it's because it is who we are, right? Omaha is not a very old city. We're looking mid-late 1800s. We're now, yes, 2025 going into 2026, but we are a city that has been built by immigrants, and we will continue to be a diverse and beautiful city. but we cannot be unless we are supporting our neighbors. So as I look to the change just for reinvesting for, let's say, phase 1 of the Adelante initiative, the change is going to be immediate, but the change is something we are going to see and build upon for years to come. And so it is investment in place, it is investment in infrastructure, but it is investment in every child that is going to go and play at Plaza de la Raza growing up. It is an investment in every vendor that's going to set up a booth on a Saturday market to sell their goods. It is an investment in every celebration that is hosted in South Omaha and beyond. It is an investment in today, and it's an investment in every single person that is going to interact and engage with that place. As we look to our own personal histories, places are so important at any stage in life. We remember where we feel good. We remember where we feel safe. We remember where we feel celebrated. Plaza de la Raza is that. That is what we are building. So as we're looking at what this change is going to be when we finish this next campaign, we are building that place, and then we are using that place as a catalyst to continue that investment. It is not just stopping there. So that is my long and to short answer.
And you're right. This is where we sprung from. As a reminder that our current area of focus is the South Omaha Business Improvement District. But you're right. Latinos and immigrants are everywhere. I mean, this isn't. We are not geographically located in one area. We're everywhere, and so our goal is to start here, but also move beyond Omaha and continue to serve communities across Nebraska that identify and want to see transformation like we're seeing in South Omaha. As we wrap up, Maria, how can our supporters get involved right now? Whether they're listening or they share this podcast with someone else that should learn more about the Latino community, not just financially, although we love to see you support us in that regards. For future partners, how can people get involved, and where do you think they should start, or how do we connect with them?
Learn and then advocate. Two parts that I still do every single day and will continue to do for the rest of my life. Learn about LEDC, learn about our work, learn about our partners, learn about our why. Our website is a great resource for that. It's bilingual as well, has a beautiful new design and layout as of just a few months ago. But what I would advocate for, I'm going to come back to that word, is learn about LEDC and then share about us. Share about us on social media. Share about us loudly in the rooms that we are absent in. Share about us for people who need us and to connect with us. And share about us for future opportunities to shape the Latino community, not only here but beyond. So that is what I would advocate for, is learn, engage, and then advocate on our behalf. Be connected, share, donate, volunteer, but really I think as I'm looking to 2026, advocate for us. Advocate for us in the rooms we are not yet in. Advocate for us at the tables that we need to be spoken about. And that is where that transformational change is going to continue. It's going to continue for the youth who go through our programming to learn about it, to be a part of the next cohort. It is going to be for people who still want to support our mission and our work. If you cannot give financially, maybe you know someone who this is an area of interest for them. So really it takes everyone, but so much of what it is actually communication. So please do that in a multiform way. Digital communication is great. Nothing beats, though, having a face-to-face conversation. So that is what I would encourage, and I would do so with a lot of gratitude as well. There are so often in life very simple things that can create really big changes. And in a nonprofit like ours, advocacy is the key. We're going to see that have ripple effects not only in what we can output for our impact, but also how we can continue this dialogue with our community about what they need and what they want, and how we can ensure that we're maneuvering our resources and what we're doing to meet and then exceed that need.
Absolutely. And well said, Maria, because especially during this upcoming holiday season where people are choosing between staying put in a city like Omaha or reconsidering moving, right? The holiday season's coming. I'm experiencing hardship. Feels like the pandemic. I think Arturo said it very well. Just recently, we were invited guest speakers at the Immigration Policy Summit that was held in North Platte a few weeks ago, and he said very well. And I'd like to grab this up, not because we want to, again. And this note with like, oh, we should all feel, bad or sorry, or no. This is what I'm gonna share is to move us forward, so that we can create conscious decisions about how we move forward, not just during this holiday season, but as we begin 2026. He said, immigrants were looked at essential workers in the pandemic, and they were pushed out to do what needed to be done or they be fired. Mm-hmm. And immigrants today are pushed out of the country because they are criminals and they're being looked at and looked for in their places of work. And so it's like the rhetoric around that all immigrants are criminal is not true, of course. People tend to gravitate towards what makes more noise. So I think what you shared about learning and sharing and advocating comes hand in hand with not just LEDC, but any immigrant service institution across Omaha and across the nation today. Is much more important to hear from our allies. To hear from anonymous donors, providing support, because they may also feel fear if their relatives and their close friends learn that they are supporting these initiatives, because again, no one is absent from having a consequence during these times, but at the same time, this creates, a little bit more clarity on how to support. I have had several conversations in the last months, especially after the raid that was held in June, about ways that people can personally contribute their times and talents, but also how they can be an extension of LEDC and of other organizations like Sierra and many others that are doing the work that needs to be done in order to keep our families together and protect our children. Mm-hmm. So yes, feel free to reach out directly, learn more on how to get involved, not just with LEC, but other immigrant service institutions. As the holidays come, I'll end with this note. I think of your Thanksgiving dinner and the gratitude that comes with bringing your family or friends together to share a meal, and also think of all of the families that will not have a full family dinner because now someone is gone. So with that, Maria, I know that you're not going to be here for a long time, but I love that you were here today to share with us on this episode, to bring us together, because this podcast was about Nebraska being one, and we're working together as one. And although you're not here in Nebraska today, and we know you're coming back, we are one. We are LEDC, and LEDC is for all Latinos. So thank you very much.
I love you. Thank you so much. And this was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Muchas gracias. And we'll see you next time. Thank you.